until later and all that. Now, thing is, they were trying to get information from the one that and keep it functioning until they and got this information from them on different things and everything, and they couldn't get much, because they're dealing with future stuff, and they didn't want to disrupt that. So these things are programmed a certain way to do things and act when they get into our...
So let me just try and elaborate on that. If I get what you're saying that the biomechanical machine we call gray aliens,
yeah,
they are programmed to self-destruct or turn off.
No.
To turn off or
no,
to fail.
No, this one was damaged. So but it's programmed not to, if it is captured in any way,
right, okay,
or if it's retained in any way, its programming and everything will not allow it to bring any information about anything in the future where it came from.
Because it could disrupt the timeline.
Anything. It could disrupt anything.
So sort of like the butterfly effect.
Well, sort of.
Like you
could say that.
You wouldn't want to have a distortion in the timelines based on this craft. But there was a distortion because we got the materials and engineering.
And that's why they came back.
To give that to us?
No. They came back to...
Prevent?
No, they came back to gather up the materials that was lost, the crafts, pieces, whatever materials was lost, and found out it was too far retained and recorded and They decided to work with the military and give and divulge what their purpose was and what they were doing, and then work with them secretly.
So there was a treaty.
Yeah, sort of.
An agreement.
And they had it in the Pentagon.
They
talked about it in the Pentagon back in this time that I'm talking about, and discussed it behind closed doors and came up with the solution to keep this program ultra secret. And the president at that time was, of course, Truman. All right. So he when Eisenhower took over and everything, at that particular time, they were full-fledged into discussing and negotiating with them exactly how they would help them and help them.
So, in other words, these people in the future, or the beings, the craft, the machines...
Well, this is stuff we've developed in the future.
Right. But they came back to get something, and they came back to get the missing parts.
Yes.
And
so there wouldn't be no evidence and all that.
Oh, to prevent, because they knew the crash happened.
Right.
And they tried to get this stuff before the military could get it, but because the military had already gotten it, they found themselves in a situation where they had to negotiate.
Events had already taken place that there's no way they could really change it.
Okay, and so out of that came a sort of a truce or an agreement, between the military-industrial complex and this, what would you call it, another race? Or
machines, basically, these AIs and all that.
Okay, and so what were we were getting technology, I'm assuming, in exchange for...
Help with the technology we already had from them, from the crash.
To reverse engineer it.
Right. Help with developing it to the point
that we could use it.
Where we could use it and all, but not the technology of the time dimensional travel. They weren't going to give us that. We'll give you technology that will help you with your developing computers and different things and all. That was the exchange and all for defense purposes.
Allegedly defense.
Yes. But they've been using it for more than just defense and all that. Anyhow, I got to get this out because there has to be an understanding of where the president's involvement is, and certain people in Congress and all, in the government. There are certain people in the government on certain committees, and also the president, that are aware of this program and its final outcome. And because of what they know, there's no way that they'll
blow the
cover because they don't want an all-out panic. They don't want an all-out people just heading into the street with guns and going nuts and everything, and that's what would happen.
If it was
if you knew that your survival rating and all that in December of 2012 was going to be probably zip, very low chance of survival and all that, you'd go nuts too. You'd go out there and start a revolution too and everything. And they wanted to keep that from happening.
And why?
So they know about it. Obama knows about it. Clinton knew about it. Bush knew about it. They all know about it. And I'll give you the proof that they all know about it. How many years has been going on? Spending, never doing anything with the deficit. Just spend, and it gets higher every year.
Ever since World War II.
And everything. And the people out here in America are going, hey, come on now, we're telling you stop the spending and stop all these damn crazy programs and everything. Stop the spending. And what are they doing on TV and all to us? Laughing.
Yeah.
They're, yeah, we hear you. Are we supposed to be in charge? Aren't we the people supposed to be in charge, and what we want supposed to happen? That's why Eisenhower warned us, made that little warning in his farewell speech. Because he knew, even though he knew what he knew and was briefed on it, he knew that at least he'd get that little bit out.
Mm-hmm.
And let the people
plant a seed
and let the people decide what they wanted to do and all that, because he knew how far it was going to go from his point on.
Mm-hmm.
The military-industrial complex, and they are way beyond that now since Eisenhower.
Oh yeah.
Way beyond that.
Well, I had a conversation with a coworker about the UFO incidents, and he asked me if the military was testing, and I said, you know, you can go to the Air and Space Museum near D.C. and you can see all these advanced weaponry, but those craft that they have up there,
for show.
They're just for show.
They're just for show.
They
like
had
the
those
stealth.
They had those out. You know, they were designed in the 50s, but they weren't even declassified till like the 70s and the 80s. So
Yeah.
what, you think they stopped those programs? Of course
Yeah,
not.
and they shot down the first stealth bomber and all that flew over Russia and everything.
Or
Remember
Iran.
that? Yeah, well, you remember the one that flew over, the first one, the what is it? AR-87 or whatever it was, that stealth bomber.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy got shot down by the Russians over Russia and all that, but they eventually let him go and come back and everything, but they kept the parts to it and everything. You figure if they had that kind of technology from the time thing, you know, from the future and everything, they'd have stuff that was way more advanced than that.
Oh yeah.
But if you had that, and you had that for defense,
Nobody
you
could.
think you'd want to show people in the world that you had it? See, that's the key to it and all. They're actually protecting us. The United States of America is being protected and all that in a certain way. And in another way and all that, they're destroying our rights,
Mm-hmm.
which is bad. They're overriding the Constitution, which I don't like. That's why one of the reasons why I'm coming out with this stuff, because I believe that the way this country was started, our forefathers started it with the Constitution and everything, they had it right.
Mm-hmm.
They were inspired by God to write that Constitution in the way where it protected human beings to pursue happiness without interference from the government.
Right.
And the government isn't their God.
Exactly.
And all that. And they have played God for the last